What's up, guys? Right when you thought that they couldn't get any worse, Metallica shat out the worst metal album of all time. What's up, guys? Maidenslave here, and today we talk Saint Anger. Yeah, here we are. So this video is going to be a little bit different than what I usually do, in that I'm not going to list all the songs and say what I have to, what I think about them, because I think the same thing about every single song on this album, which at this point should be no surprise to you guys. Instead of that, I'm going to list the 7 things that I think Metallica did wrong on this album. So yeah, Saint Anger. There's a lot of reviews online, big critics. Obviously this album gets notoriously negative reviews, and it is looked at as one of the worst metal albums of all time, and definitely is one of the worst flops. And like on YouTube and stuff, you see reviewers and shit and bashing Saint Anger and, oh, they fucking suck and they sold out and it's retarded and all this shit and it's retarded, and they go, it's kind of funny to see people bash on Saint Anger, and it's like, they're angry about it, and well, that's kind of funny because it's called Saint Anger, but I kind of want to have like a little bit of a different approach in this review. I want to give actual reasons what they did wrong, and why this album is definitely the worst metal album of all time in my opinion. So yeah, let's just jump into it. Number 1, the name of the album is the stupidest motherfucking name for an album I've ever heard in my life. Saint Anger. Those 2 words just don't go together. It sounds like some stupid fucking kid made it up. And I actually know how this name came into being, which I'm sure probably a lot of you guys know, because this period of the band was very, 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 very highly documented. Obviously was some kind of monster. They were filming this whole thing go down, and this was a big kind of transitional phase. Jason left because they were having problems within this band, and they almost broke up, and in the midst of all this fucking shit, and they had therapy, they were writing music, which was a bad idea at the time to write music during all this shit, because it produced the biggest fucking hunk of shit in metal ever. So yeah, the name is stupid, and yes, again, going back, I know how it came into being. James and Kirk were hanging out, and Kirk was wearing a necklace. I'm pretty sure he's Catholic. I could be wrong, and it was like of a saint, a famous saint. I think it was like Saint Michael or something. And James was like, "Hey man, what is that on your necklace?" And Kirk told him, and then James in his infinite creativity and wisdom just said, "Saint Anger," and so begun the culmination of the worst metal album of all time. Stupid motherfucking name. They shouldn't have done that. Even if it was just another song on the album, I would have fucking looked at it and said, that's a stupid name. It just doesn't make sense, okay? And yeah. Number 2, the artwork / logo. The actual logo isn't on the artwork, but they did a different logo for this whole kind of period of time. Okay, let's first talk about the art. Dumb. It's so fucking stupid. It's just of a hand with some ropes around it, like, angry, no creativity at all. I guess at least in that aspect, it kind of depicts what you're going to get on the album, and it kind of depicts how you're going to feel by the time you start listening to this album. Fucking angry. Dumb fucking artwork. Stupid, forgettable bullshit artwork. And the logo is particularly stupid because, yeah, it kind of gets back to the old logo-ish, compared to Load and Reload, but it's like a retard version, like some fucking kid made it or something. It just looks stupid. It's not, just, if you're gonna do it, just get back to the good old logo, okay? Stupid. Dumb shit didn't work. Number 3. James's vocals are bizarrely retarded on this album. You can totally tell that Metallica were completely influenced by what was going on at the time in metal. With like Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit and all this fucking shit. All these shitty bands that aren't even close to what you guys have done in metal. And you, James, tried to kind of sing like them. He still kind of had his gargling in there too. And it just made for bizarre fucking vocals. It just sounded stupid, you know. You just think that, like, James, he couldn't make his vocals any more stupid, and somehow he managed to do it. Just bad vocal performance on this album from James. Number 4. Bob Rock on bass. Now, I'm not particularly against this. I kind of don't care as much as a lot of other people do, but after thinking about it for a while, I kind of realize why it's lame. This album definitely lacks chemistry on a lot of different levels, and definitely in the bass area of things. A lot of people don't like Bob Rock on bass because they just don't like Bob Rock, especially at this point. But, you know, they definitely should have gotten their new bass player before they went in to record this album, to add chemistry. You know, metal fans like to know that there's certain members on a fucking album. You know, that's one of the main things about metal fans. We like certain people. We want to know our band, and we want to know that they're on an album. And when you bring in the producer, it's just like a studio musician. It just adds to this whole fucking, like, pieced together hunk of shit that they like to call Saint Anger. Number 5. There are no guitar solos to be found anywhere on this album. Now, that was a motherfucking stupid mistake by Metallica. They were trying to, I don't know, they were like trying to be of the time. Once again, they were trying to be like all these other bands that were metal at the time. But, you know, you're Metallica. You have metal in the logo of your band. In your band name, you have metal, literally. And there's no guitar solos. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? I don't get it at all. So, basically, there's not a real bass player on here. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, Kirk Hammett's not on this album either because there's no solos, and I don't really care. What do I care about? His riff playing along with James? No, I care about Kirk Hammett's guitar solos. So yeah, garbage. Number 6. The drum sound is infamously bad on this album. And basically, the main reason for this is Lars turned his snare off. Because once again, they were trying to go for a new, different kind of sound. And motherfuck, that was almost as bad as of a mistake as not having guitar solos on the album. Now, as I said before, I'm a drum guy. I always listen to the drums on an album more than anything. And, you know, I already knew that he turned his snare off. And I was like, ooh, that's a bad mistake. But to the common person that's listening to this album, it just sounds bizarre. Like, you hear people saying, man, it fucking sounds like he was drumming on pots and fucking trash cans and shit. And it's just like, yeah, okay, it does. Definitely. It was a bad idea for Metallica to do that. And, there's a funny video, I'll probably link it in the description, of Lars himself saying how stupid of an idea it was to turn off the snare. And he grabbed a snare and he turned it on and he said success, and he turned it off and he said failure. And that's exactly what happened on the drumming end of this album. You know, and even besides the snare being off on this album and it sounding like fucking pots and pans, The drum sound is so fucking mechanical. It sounds so fake. It doesn't sound human at all. And even Lars himself has admitted that, yeah, the drums on this album were very cut and paste together a lot. And man, if you pay attention to the drums, you can hear it. Like, I guarantee he cannot perform probably any of these songs in their entirety live at all, period. So, bad. And number 7. The songs on this album are way too motherfucking long, okay? So, Metallica at the time decided not to have guitar solos, and they pretty much decided to take the musical element out of the band. There was no, like, cool interludes and cool shit that they used to do a long time ago. You know, and, okay, alright, I get you. I know what you're going for now, okay? But the songs are still like 7 or 8 minutes long. And so how do they do this? So you don't have any musical interludes. You don't have any fucking guitar solos. So how are you going to make a song 7 or 8 minutes long? Let's think about it. Fucking, they repeat the same shit over and over and over and over and over again on this album. Every single song on this album is like a small idea played out for like 7 to 8 minutes. And I think people on YouTube have even cut every single song on this album down to what it would actually be, and every song's like 2 or 3 minutes long, because at the end of the day, that's what they are. So fucking making them 8 minutes is just pure torture. Like, I would rather fucking watch paint dry for however long this album is than actually listen to it. I would even rather fucking take on some fucking physical forms of torture than listen to this album. It's complete garbage. It is the epitome of garbage when you think of a bad album. You think Saint Anger. You know, at least on Load and Reload, you can tell what Metallica were going for. They had a direction that they were going in, right? It was bluesy, country type music. It fit somewhere. Here you go. Metallica is no longer metal. Now they are kind of country, hard rock, blues, whatever. Okay, whatever. Not my kind of music, but it's music at least. Even the Black Album. You knew where they were going. They used to be a thrash band, and now they're playing slower paced, a lot more radio friendly hard rock music, kind of like Guns N' Roses and stuff like that. It fits somewhere as well. Saint Anger is a putrid, bizarre hunk of shit, one-off dog shit album. It's not even a category. What is it? It's fucking just retard. It's retard metal. That's what Saint Anger is. It's its own category. What is it? What do you qualify to be retard metal? Bad production, stupid fucking riffs, no solos, turn your snare off, and make sure everything is cut and paste together, and you get retard metal. And it all began with Saint Anger. They made this new style of bizarre music, and it's retard metal. There you go. Saint Anger is fucking dog shit. It is the perfect example of an unperfect album. It is the opposite of a perfect album. It amounts to nothing. Not only is it one of the worst metal albums, if not the worst metal album, it's one of the worst albums of all time. And it is a complete embarrassment to the metal community, because whether you like Metallica or not, they're the biggest heavy metal band in the world right now, and they're definitely the most relevant, at least in American society. And American society plays a very big role. It has a lot of influence on the rest of the world, so Metallica is it to the mainstream. So when they put out this hunk of shit called Saint Anger, the mainstream get this view and they say, okay, well, that's what's going on in metal right now. And the truth is, no, that is not what is going on in metal right now. There's really good metal bands out there at this time that were making good fucking music, and it was not this. This is just, it doesn't fit anywhere. It's fucking garbage. One of the worst mistakes Metallica has ever made on so many levels. and I'm just glad that they have gotten themselves out of it later. Worst motherfucking album, worst metal album of all time. Gets a 0 out of 10. It's worth nothing. I'd rather listen to Silence than it. It's just nothing. Later.